Today, I'm watching The Twilight Zone, Season 3, Episode 12. The previous episode was about this Civil War soldier who finds this book of witchcraft that has the ability to put the opposing side to sleep, and he's able to, steal some of their supplies. And it wasn't my favorite episode, but we haven't had a ton of episodes with magic, but we did finally get the previews back at the end of the last episode. So Rod Serling mentioned this episode is called The Jungle and also involves dark magic. So yeah, I'm curious to see where we're going to go in this one. I'm really enjoying the series so far, so thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for movies or TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to see exclusive content from this episode, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. The concrete jungle? I was honestly expecting a literal jungle, so if that's the theme we're going with.
What about them?
You tell me.
I decided to bring back some souvenirs.
Souvenirs? A human finger? A sacred death?
Oh god, yeah, those aren't your usual souvenirs.
Baubles of a witch doctor. That's all these are to you? Souvenirs?
Of course.
Usually people get a postcard or a magnet or something.
Well, then you won't mind if I dispose of them, will you?
Oh, I think she minds very much.
Alan, don't! Please don't! Please don't, Alan!
Why
Please
not?
don't! Please don't!
Why not?
No!
Oh god, what happens if you burn them though?
Are there any more souvenirs?
What did she have planned for
A
those?
long time ago, when the men first started drilling, he said we were wounding the land, that we were hurting it, that we...
Oh no, that's not good.
Oh, there, please don't. Tell him it will work. You can stop them now while there's still time, please.
I don't think he's gonna do that. He doesn't seem like he believes in any of this. Oh, yeah. She was obviously taking this very seriously, and he doesn't think it's anything to worry about.
I'll try to be back early.
You'll never be back.
Oh, is that foreshadowing? I don't know. It sounds very ominous indeed. Bye. Oh my god.
A dead finger. A few bits of broken glass and stone.
What is this?
Take the longest walk of his life. Right down to the center of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that's usually not something that you see outside your front door, so...
Will have to be upped by about 3 to 6 months, but this shouldn't affect our general cost.
3 to 6 months? Oh my gosh.
They resent the loss of their homes. They resent the enterprise, even though they're going to benefit from it eventually.
Yeah, but they're still losing their homes. Of course they're upset. Yeah.
Well, you see, a number of the shamans have decided to put a curse on everyone connected with the enterprise.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all.
Decision to go ahead with the project, that is.
What sort of a curse, Mr. Richards?
It's gonna be like a Final Destination thing. They're gonna take them out one by one.
Healthy men sicken and die within 10 minutes of the time set by the witch doctors who cursed them.
That's terrifying.
Anyway, they just died.
Come, Richards, don't talk rubbish.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah, obviously they don't believe in it. Yeah.
Although it's a known fact that he's a superstitious man, or have you finally given up astrology, Mr. Hardy?
Yeah, they all have their own superstitions. That's funny.
What a Kikuyu witch doctor said to me when I suggested that panther bones could not foretell the future.
But they've got a rabbit's foot, yeah.
Now, you needn't smile, Mr. Templeton. I've seen you knock on wood more than once.
Well,
you
and
funny.
look,
Oh, wait a
it's
minute.
I feel like we had another character named Mr. Templeton.
Last time you walked under a ladder, huh? Or crossed your fingers or threw salt over your shoulder?
All right.
Yeah, but all these things are totally normal to them. But if somebody else does a variation, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Tell me something. If you wanted to get hold of a dead goat on an hour's notice,
It's like, who's your dead goat guy? Where would you find him? In New York City?
and since this is a lion's tooth, I gather I'm being protected from lions.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's a giant tooth.
Oh, nothing. Come on. Look, it's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, is Alan starting to believe in this stuff, or is he just getting afraid? This just makes me want to watch more film noir films. I haven't seen a ton of them, but the nightscape, the city, and his coat,
Anybody there?
Yeah, of course. He left it at the bar, and now the trouble's gonna start. Dun 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 dun. Telephone booths have never worked out for us in the past in the Twilight Zone, so I'm worried. Car breaks down, phone's out of order. Yeah, oh, at least it didn't get stuck in the booth, but I'm assuming it's going to be a long walk home. How is it ringing if it's out of order? I can't even guess at what sounds that. It sounds like an animal, but I have no idea what sounds those are. He's definitely freaked out now. Yep. Yeah, it sounds like a monkey a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, mister?
He's like, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. Yeah, it sounds like there's like monkeys in the tree or something, but you can't see them, but just like, I like the subtle effect of hearing the wind blow and the trees move and...
The light's green.
Oh my gosh, and then the cab driver dies. Oh my gosh, this guy. I'm worried. I'm very worried the body count on this one is going to be through the roof. Did he have a heart attack or something? I don't know. Ah! I think this guy is regretting leaving that lion's tooth behind. And it's interesting, like, he's obviously alone, but also feels surrounded by the same time. Like, he knows he's being watched, something's out there, you know, just this, like, impending doom feeling, while also showing that he's completely isolated and, like, no one's coming to help. I wouldn't stand in front of that arrow, sir. Come on, move anywhere, move any other direction. That thing's gonna come to life or something. Who's this now?
What sound was that?
Yeah, of course he's the only one who can hear it.
Those drums.
And some kind of like bird or something, and yeah, the drums.
Look, if you'll walk with me, I'll give you $10.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go by himself, obviously. And there's no music, there's no other cars. Yeah, it's just the sound that he's hearing and just his own footsteps. Yeah, that's a lion for sure. Oh my gosh. I'm curious if it's actually happening, if it's just his like fear and, you know, anxiety getting to him and his mind playing tricks on him. Or if those statues are really going to come to life. Yeah, it's the same sounds I heard on the phone, and like sounds that wouldn't come from an animal that you would find, you know, typically in New York. So, the lions are back. And just like how overwhelming that would be. Yeah, it's getting louder and louder, and oh gosh, this poor guy. Yeah, I was like, I don't think it's over. Just because he's made it back to the apartment, it's not over. It's not until he stops the project that it might go away. I don't know. It seems like the only chance, but the lions are still coming back. And where's his wife also? Yeah, I'm worried what's behind that door. It sounds very real, so I'm curious how they got the sound, if they recorded an actual lion. Oh my god, there he is in your bed. Yep, that's a big kitty. Oh my gosh. See you later. Yeah, oh my goodness. Terrifying. The lion was just waiting for him all along.
Jungle grapevine in a remote corner of the Twilight Zone.
Should have kept the tooth. Should have kept the tooth. So that was my first time watching The Twilight Zone, season 3, episode 12. I liked this episode. It wasn't my favorite, but I still enjoyed it. And, to have Alan, our main character, kind of wandering through the streets of New York at night, I really liked that aesthetic. And it definitely made me want to watch some old film noir movies. And just, as he's trying to get home, even though, his wife warns him, saying, like, you'll never come back, you're never going to return. And I'm assuming she's the one that put the lion's tooth in his jacket as a form of protection, because we see him burn, everything else, the souvenirs that she brought back. And of course, Alan doesn't believe any of this. And as soon as he takes that tooth out and leaves it at the bar, and he can't get back into the bar. And I think even at that point in the episode, he mostly just wanted to get in to find help to fix his car. But, I don't think he would have taken the tooth back. And again, I don't know if that would have, even if he would have made it home at that point, it sounded like the only way to stop this was to stop the project. And I was kind of wondering if we were going to get almost like a Final Destination-esque, episode where everybody is taken out. I'd be curious to see. We never get it in the episode, obviously, but curious to see what happens to the rest of the team, because obviously Alan didn't build this by himself. And he does try and warn them at the meeting, saying, like, the shaman put a curse on us. They're not happy. We're taking away their homes. And, his argument is that the dam will help better their lives. But obviously the people who live there don't necessarily see it that way and aren't excited to have this, new project underway. And with the title of the jungle, I thought we were going to literally take place in the jungle. But I don't know if budget, if that would have allowed it. And it was also interesting to see the after effects of them now come home and, okay, like nothing's gonna happen. We're safe now, we're fine. But to see them come home back to New York, and if we had heard those sounds while they were still in Africa, it wouldn't have seemed so out of place. It wouldn't have seemed so taunting. But obviously him walking through the literal concrete jungle of New York and hearing these actual jungle sounds of birds and animals and lions and things that he knows that, he shouldn't be hearing the sounds of, but obviously also recognizes the sounds of from when he was in Africa. And if he had taken place in Africa and he had heard a lion sound, sure, he would have been scared, but he probably would have thought, well, that makes sense. This is where lions live. But if he's, in New York and is hearing a lion sound and the dead goat outside his door as well, like, I was definitely worried we were going to have a giant body count in this episode, but it's just Alan that we see anyway. His death happens off camera. I'm assuming he doesn't survive the lion attack, and Doris, again, I feel like also passed away. Even the cab driver, was that coincidence, or was it because now he's associated himself with Alan, and it did sound like anybody that they were, associated with, even though obviously the cab driver's not involved in this project. But to me, that very much felt like a sign to Alan to say, like, you're not supposed to go home, like, the car breaks down, the phone's not working. You're hearing those sounds on the other end of the phone, and your cab driver dies. And, even trying to pay that guy to walk with him, I was like, well, even if he had walked with him all the way home, he's probably not going to invite him in, up to his apartment. And a really interesting soundscape. We didn't have a ton of music in this episode. It was a lot of the, animal and nature sounds from Africa. And of course, having the lion at the end was really interesting. We've had an episode with an elephant before. So to see a lion, and it was definitely real. It wasn't CGI, obviously. It was a real lion. And to just see it standing there on the bed, jump off. And it's not a long scene with it, but obviously it's, very symbolic and implied that obviously Alan dies. And, I wonder if his rest of the team, when they find out that he's passed away, if they're going to actually shut it down, if they're going to take it seriously. Is the lion, it's real in the episode, but is it real in real life? Or is Alan's just fear and imagination, coming into play? Like, is the lion just gonna take off down the hallway and, take the elevator and walk itself out of the building? Like, and we know Alan was very much against these superstitions, and I really like that conversation he had with the boardroom, which did also look familiar. I can't place it right now, but I feel like we've seen that before. And, him going around to everybody being like, you're into horoscopes, you have a lucky rabbit's foot, and kind of trying to make them realize, like, we have our own things that we do that we consider good luck charms, and nobody bats an eye at it. Nobody thinks we're weird. But if a different culture and a different country has other things that they consider good luck, Alan's explaining how that's, viewed with judgment, and they're not really accepting of it, and they don't understand it. But again, they're doing the exact same thing in their own way. So I really like that conversation, because it felt like calling them out and being like, hey, one country has a rabbit's foot, another country has a chicken foot, like everybody has their own superstitions and customs. And, it's like, you're the owner of this, giant company, and you have a rabbit's foot. Like, why do you, need that? And the building that they're in doesn't even have a 13th floor, because again, that's superstitious that, 13 is an unlucky number, so the building wouldn't have that floor. And to see them try and battle with being, we're modern men in this modern world, like we don't believe in these things anymore and we don't need that stuff. And the fact that his entire team was basically like, you're nuts, you've lost it, like this curse isn't real, what are you talking about? Which I wasn't surprised to see, even though they all admit to having their own little piece of superstition that they take with them anyway. But yeah, I almost wish there was a part 2, or I almost wish this was a little bit of a longer episode so we could see the fallout with the rest of the team, or see what happens to them if there's like a newspaper headline or something like that, or to see their response when they find out that Alan is dead. Would they think it's coincidence, or would they actually take stock and actually close down the project? So yeah, I'd be curious to see that side of it. And I really liked the soundscape with the animal sounds and hearing what I assumed would be monkeys in a tree, but again with the light and shadow and it's dark, and your brain would be like, well, monkeys don't live in New York, why would there be monkeys in the tree? And like that doesn't add up. But obviously it's this shaman's curse, coming to follow him no matter where he goes. And I feel like even if the lion wasn't in his room, I feel like the next weeks or months or whatever it would have been, it just keep taunting him more and more. As we heard even throughout the episode, it gets louder and louder. And I thought it did a good job of showing how isolated Alan was with his, he's the only person in the streets. It's the middle of the night. No one is out. There's no other cars except for the one, cab driver. But there's nowhere he can go for help. Everything is shut down for the night, and tries calling home, can't get an answer, and of course the payphone is out of order as well. And then just to hear those sounds looping over and over, and how terrifying that would be and how frightening it would be. And that false comfort when he's home and is about to pour himself a drink and he's like, oh, thank God I made it, I'm safe, I'm at home, like nothing's gonna get me here. And then of course you hear the lion sound, you're like, yeah, this isn't over. There's no way we're just gonna have the episode end with you safely returning home. There was gonna definitely be some kind of element to it. It's the Twilight Zone, there's gonna be another piece to it. I was wondering if we would just get the lion sounds off camera and then, he opens the door and it's just implied that obviously the lion gets him, but to have the real lion there was definitely interesting. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was our second episode in a row with magic. There was no preview. I don't know if it's coming back. I don't know why that one episode just had it randomly, but yeah, I have no idea what the next episode is about. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode. It wasn't my favorite, but yeah, season 3 has been pretty strong up until the last couple episodes in my opinion, so curious to see where we're gonna go next. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for movies or TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. Shoulda kept the tooth! Shoulda kept the tooth. The concrete jungle? Oh god, yeah, those aren't usual souvenirs. Yeah, but they're still losing their homes. Of course they're upset. Yeah, but they're still losing their homes. Of course they're upset. Yeah. Car breaks down, phone's out of order. Yeah, it sounds like a monkey a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't stand in front of that arrow, sir.